Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how to improve your win rate. Now, before I even get into that, some of you guys who have known me for a longer time know that I don't always agree with the idea of improving win rate, but I'm going to talk to you and show you how to do it anyways. So let's get right into it. First of all, let's talk about why it's not always better to improve the win rate. I'm going to show you how to improve your win rate in just a minute, but I'm going to talk to you also why it's not always the best idea to want to improve your win rate. This guy, for example, has a 40% win rate with around 400 trades. Extremely profitable, 1-to-3 risk reward ratio. Very good, right? Well, yes, on one hand, it is very good because you got a very high win rate and, a decent amount of trades. But if you look at the actual P&L, it's not that great. Now, if we look at this, a way lower win rate, for example, but 2,500 trades, we're going to come out way more profitable. So the win rate is not necessarily the issue. It's mainly how is your frequency in comparison to your win rate. So as you can see down here, this guy made a lot more profit, way better returns, even though he's got a lower win rate. So you guys know that this is my idea, my thought process on win rate and not necessarily always being the best thing. However, I've still gotten quite a lot of questions on Discord asking me if I could still make a video on how to improve win rate. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm still going to tell you how to improve win rate because sometimes you do need to adjust it a little bit to kind of get it up to something that you are comfortable with. I'm not going to show you how to get from a 30 to a 60% win rate because the only way to do that is by basically going from 100 to 5 trades per year, and that's not something I want you to do. I am going to show you how you can get from 30 to maybe 35/40% win rate. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to show you pretty much the only way. It's not going to be too difficult, but essentially it all comes down to data. You want to do what I like to call a test round. So you want to test first. You want to get 100, 200, maybe 300 trades, collect that, and then after you have an exact sample size, identify patterns. So for example, I've identified a pattern with one of my clients, and that pattern is that he takes trades that get really close to his entry and then get really close to his break-even level / his target, and then basically go all the way to his stop loss. That's a pattern that I've identified pretty often. I've also identified for a fact that news candles do not seem to perform well. And that's something that we want to avoid. And the only way I've been able to identify that is because we now have a sample size of hundreds of trades. Another thing that I like, that I notice pretty often, is that once again, price here comes to the entry, then to break even. But also that we do not always have the strongest breaker structure. That's something too that I've identified. In this case, we do have a decent breaker structure in this case as well, but there are trades in here in which the breaker structure is a little weak. So let's see if we can find some examples. And this is once again the only way to actually improve the win rate. Right here, for example, we don't really see a strong break to the downside here. Those are trades that generally will lower the probability. So I'm not going to give you just my idea on how to improve win rate. I want you to go out there and be able to improve your own win rate based on your strategy, based on the things that you are doing. So like I said, number one is collect data aggressively. And why am I saying collect data aggressively? Well, let me also write this down for you. Because the more data you have, the more you can filter out. So step one would be to collect data aggressively. You want to get a lot of data at first. Once you have a lot of data, that's when you can start to identify patterns. Step two would be make small changes, and I'm capitalizing this because this is what I want you to do. I want you to make small changes, small, preferably mechanical changes, saying, okay, I'm going to delete my trade as soon as it becomes overextended by an X amount of pips. I'm going to delete my trade as soon as it basically gets too close to target and then too close to my entry. Small changes that do not make it difficult. You're not going to add another time frame. You're not going to add you're not going to zoom out too much. I want you to make small changes to your strategy. Then we're going to go back to this. I'm going to go back to one. With those small changes, we're once again going to collect data aggressively. Then step 3, compare the difference. Because sometimes you might make a small change that actually makes it worse, that makes your data worse. And that's when you literally just got to go back. It's not going to be one straight line. It's not going to be like, okay, I've got a 30% win rate. I want to make some changes so that I can get to a 40% win rate. No, it's going to look something like this. Okay, 30%, I'm going to make a small change. Oops, that's not it. Now we are at 28%. Let me make another change. Okay, now we got 31. Maybe I should combine this with something else. Okay, never mind. That brings me back, so I'm not going to do that. Boom. Eventually you get to 33%. And that's the way you want to approach this. And that's the way it works for every strategy. But all of it has to be based on data. You cannot, and believe me when I say this, you cannot improve your win rate based on what somebody else is telling you. You have to look at it and test it and see for yourself that it actually changes the results. So what you can start doing is you can start looking at your trades and calculate the results. What would have happened if I avoided, for example, all the trades that got really close to my entry and then went to my target and then came back to my entry? What would have happened if I avoided trades with a weak break of structure? Calculate that and then be like, okay, I am seeing somewhat of a difference. Let me now actually test this thoroughly. Let me see if this actually makes a difference in the long run. And then from there on out, that's where you're going to look for ways to improve your win rate. This is literally the only way. I know there's a lot of videos saying like you have to do a top-down analysis. Perfect. It's fun that they're all saying that, but the only way to actually change something is if you base it on your own data. So a little bit of a short video, but hopefully this helps you guys out. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Discord. It is somewhere above my head right now. If you want to check out the strategy, the link is down below. It's free. You can check it out. If you want to see our data, check out my backtesting series. Anyways, for now, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.